At 93, Angie Dickinson finally talks about Randolph Scott. Angie Dickinson was born Angeline Brown on September 30th, 1931 in Culm, North Dakota. She grew up in a tight-knit family with German roots. Angie's early years were filled with humble living and strong Midwestern values. Her dad, Leo Henry Brown, was a newspaper publisher and editor who taught her to love communication and storytelling, while her mom, Frederica, helped her develop grace and strength. The family later moved to Burbank, California, where Angie's world grew bigger from the quiet plains of North Dakota into the sparkling promise of Hollywood. Before she became famous, Dickinson wanted to focus on school and having a professional career rather than show business. She went to Glendale Community College and later Immaculate Heart College in Los Angeles, where she got a degree in business and wanted to become a writer or editor. But life had other plans. Her natural elegance and stunning beauty got the attention of casting directors after she competed in a local beauty pageant, which led to her being named one of the finalists in the Miss America early contests. That attention opened doors in the entertainment world, and soon Angie started appearing in small roles on television and in movies, determined to show that she was more than just a pretty face. Her big break came in 1959 with Howard Hawks' classic film Rio Bravo, where she starred alongside Hollywood legends John Wayne, Dean Martin, and Ricky Nelson. As the smart and attractive feathers, Angie lit up the screen, holding her own with male stars with charm and class that instantly made her unforgettable. The performance earned her lots of praise and put her on a path toward becoming one of the top actresses of her time. Unlike many of her peers, Dickinson avoided being typecast. She played many different roles that showed her range, from tough, independent women to vulnerable heroines, all with a special emotional depth that really connected with audiences. Throughout the 1960s and 1970 seconds, Angie became a famous name, appearing in a bunch of successful films such as Ocean's 11, 1960, alongside the Rat Pack, The Killers, 1964, with Lee Marvin, The Chase, 1966, with Marlon Brando, and Point Blank, 1967, again opposite Marvin. Her ability to grab attention in male-dominated films made her one of few actresses of her time who could show both strength and attractiveness while losing realness. She had a quiet power, an attractive mix of confidence and warmth that made every scene she was in memorable. However, it was television that turned Angie Dickinson into a cultural icon. In 1974, she began starring in the groundbreaking series Policewoman, where she played Sergeant Suzanne Pepper Anderson, an undercover cop who brought smarts, toughness, and heart to her work. The show, which ran for 4 successful seasons, broke down walls for women in television, as it was one of the first dramas to feature a female law enforcement officer in a leading role. Angie's portrayal of Pepper Anderson was game-changing. It inspired countless women to pursue careers in law enforcement and changed how female characters were written on television. Her performance earned her a Golden Globe Award and multiple Emmy nominations, securing her status as a pioneer for women in entertainment. Even as Hollywood changed, Angie Dickinson's impact never faded. Her timeless beauty, natural acting style, and trailblazing work opened doors for generations of actresses to come. She kept appearing in films and television projects well into her latter years, including roles in Dress to Kill 1980, Even Cowgirls Get the Blues 1993, and Pay It Forward 2000. Proving that her talent lasted through decades, she also became a regular guest on talk shows and documentaries where her honest humor and sharp smarts made her loved by audiences. Angie Dickinson's personal life was as complicated, passionate, and interesting as the role she played on screen. Her first marriage was to Gene Dickinson, a former collegiate football player who later made his career in the electronics business. The couple married in 1952. During the early years of Angie's Rossetto fame, when she was still making a name for herself as a young actress in Hollywood, Gene was known for his charm and business skills, and their marriage at first seemed to be one of glamour and promise, a perfect match between an ambitious actress and a determined athletic husband. However, as Angie's career began to take off and her fame grew, the demands of show business and the distance created by her professional life took a toll on their relationship. Though they officially divorced in 1960, the couple had already separated by 1956, showing the slow falling apart of a marriage that had started with hope, but couldn't survive the pressures of fame and different life paths. During her marriage to Gene, Angie developed close friendships with well-known thinkers and political figures, including the famous economist John Kenneth Galbraith and his wife Kitty Galbraith. This relationship showed Dickinson's wide curiosity and her comfort in the company of thinkers and statesmen as much as with actors and entertainers. The Galbraiths admired Angie not only for her beauty, but for her intelligence, wit and thoughtful nature. She often visited them, and her experiences during these visits, especially when the Galbraiths lived in India where John served as ambassador, left a deep impression on her. Dickinson traveled to India to visit them, diving into the culture, the politics, and the unique atmosphere of a country then in the middle of defining its post-independence identity. Her presence and friendship are warmly remembered in Galbraith's memoirs, Ambassador's Journal, and A Life in Our Times, where he talks about her warmth, poise, and real curiosity about the world. These experiences had a side of Dickinson that went beyond Hollywood. She was worldly, socially aware, and truly engaged with the people and places she encountered. After her divorce from Gene Dickinson, Angie made the choice to keep her married name, a decision that would become part of her professional identity. Angie Dickinson had become another word for glamour, talent, and strength, and she continued to carry that name proudly throughout her life and career. It was under that name that she became one of Hollywood's most recognized stars, a symbol of both class and independence during a time when few women in the industry had such power. In 1965, Angie found love again, this time with the celebrated composer Burt Bacharach. Bacharach, already a praised figure in the world of music, was known for his elegant melodies and unforgettable songs that would go on to define an era. Their marriage was one of Hollywood's most glamorous couples. She, the stunning film star who had won over audiences with her blend of strength and attractiveness. He, the musical genius, hosted compositions for artists like Dionne Warwick and Dusty Springfield became instant classics. The couple married in a private ceremony, balancing their high-profile careers with a real affection for one another. For 16 years, they stayed together, though their relationship was not without challenges. Late in their marriage, they went through a period of separation during which both dated other people, showing the difficulties of two creative, ambitious people dealing with fame, love, and personal happiness. On July 12, 1966, Angie gave birth to their only child, a daughter named Nikki Bacharach. Nikki was the light of her parents' lives, but from a young age, she faced serious challenges. She was later diagnosed with autism, a condition not widely understood at the time. Angie devoted herself to Nikki's care, showing a depth of motherly love that went beyond her public image. The actress once spoke of how deeply Nikki shaped her life, saying that her daughter taught her compassion, patience, and perspective. Despite her parents' efforts and constant support, Nikki struggled throughout her life with difficulties her condition brought. Tragically, on January 4, 2007, Nikki died by suicide at the age of 40, a loss that crushed both Angie and Burt. For Angie, it was a heartbreak from which never fully healed, though she found comfort in remembering the beauty and sensitivity her daughter had brought into the world. Burt Bacharach himself lived a long and successful life, continuing to compose and perform well into his later years. He passed away in 2003, leaving behind a legacy of music that defined generations. Though Angie and Burt had divorced in 1981, they remained connected through their shared history and the memory of their daughter. Their relationship, filled with passion, artistry, and tragedy, stood as proof of the complexity of love between two extraordinary people who each made an unforgettable mark on American culture. At 93, Angie Dickinson, the legendary Hollywood actress whose career has spanned decades in types of films, finally broke her long silence about her experiences with the iconic Western star Randolph Scott. Known for her honest nature and charm, Dickinson has long been a part of Hollywood stories with her roles in classic films and television series like Policewoman, securing her status as a trailblazer for women in the industry. Yet, despite her long career and public image, her thoughts on Scott had remained mostly unspoken until now. In a recent interview, Dickinson looked back on her interactions with Scott with a mix of admiration, nostalgia, and measured honesty. Randolph Scott was a professional in every sense of the word, Dickinson stated, her voice carrying both respect and a touch of wistfulness. He had a presence that was both magnetic and humble, and he had a way of making everyone on set feel respected, even if he was the center of attention. Her words show a deep respect for Scott's work habits and his contribution to the Western genre, which despite the passage of time, continues to influence actors and filmmakers today. Dickinson went on to share stories that shed light on the human side of Randolph Scott, stories that fans and historians have long wondered about, but rarely heard directly from her perspective. I remember one specific day on the set when the shooting schedule had gone off track and tensions were high. Randolph, without a word of complaint, took it upon himself to lighten the mood, she remembered. Her memory painted a picture of a man who combined profession with warmth, whose quiet leadership and generosity left a lasting impression on those around him. Dickinson's thoughts extend beyond just admiration for Scott's on-screen image. They capture her awareness of challenges and dynamics of working in Hollywood's studio system during its golden era. Back then, the industry was different. There were rigid hierarchies, strict codes of conduct, and a certain toughness expected from men like a Randolph. But he had a way of balancing authority with kindness that made him unforgettable, she explained. The conversation then shifted to Dickinson's personal perspective on what it meant to share the screen with someone of Scott's level. Working alongside Randolph was both exciting and intimidating, she admitted. You knew you were in the presence of someone who had mastered his craft, but he never made you feel lesser or overshadowed. He encouraged you to bring your own best to the scene. Dickinson's words highlight the teamwork nature of filmmaking, showing how mutual respect and understanding can lift performance and create lasting professional resent. She also talked about the myths and rumors that often swirl around Hollywood legends. There are always stories, some true, some blown up, about people like Randolph, she said. What I can say from my experience is that he was authentic. He treated people well and cared deeply about his work. Angie Dickinson's decent to finally speak about Randolph Scott at the age of 93 is not just a nostalgic look backward. It is a purposeful act of historical preservation. In a world where first and decades of Hollywood's golden era are quickly disappearing, her memories of her priceless insight into both the professional and human sides of one of the industry's most respected figures. Her thoughts also serve as proof of the lasting influence of mentors and colleagues who shape not only careers but personal perspectives. I've always felt it's important to remember the people who shaped us. Who's it an example of integrity and talent, Dickinson concluded. Randolph Scott was one of those people for me. Speaking about him now at this stage of my life feels like the right moment, like paying tribute to someone who deserved recognition, not just for his fame, but for his character. In sharing her memories, Dickinson invites fans, historians, and the public to think the layers of personality behind the silver screen image of Randolph Scott. Her words, measured yet heartfelt, offer a rare glimpse into the backstage reality of Hollywood's most iconic westerns and the relationship that brought them to life. At 93, she shows that age brings not only wisdom, but also the courage to finally voice truths long held in quiet reflection. A touching reminder of the stories behind the glamour, the lights, and the timeless legends of film history.